Hi, this is Jackie,
Hi, this is Diana.
and you're listening to Home Bodies Only, where we welcome all bodies to join us as we break down HBO series. And today we are talking about episode 2 of And Just Like That, Little Black Dress. So, starts off, Brady and Louisa are
Doing their thing.
going at it. Yeah.
Again. It's a recap. Like we need to see it again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know. Yeah. And they switch positions. So then, of course, like they're banging against the wall. Then we see Miranda and Steve in their bedroom. And of course, Steve can't hear it, which I think Miranda says something like she wishes she couldn't either. I'm totally grossed out. I'm sorry.
I don't have many words for this. Yeah. It's gross.
Anyway, Carrie calls.
Yeah.
Steve answers, and then jump right over to Carrie opening the door to Miranda standing there. Carrie asks, "What am I going to do now?" And Miranda thinks literally and says, "Well, what does she say? Something, I don't know." She answers her like literally, what is she going to do now? And meanwhile, the body is being wheeled out in the background, which I thought was kind of tacky. I didn't think it was necessary for that at all. I don't know. Yeah. So, and then I'm just going to jump to, then they're in the bed and Carrie, I thought they were going to show a bunch of memories, but Carrie gets a memory of like basically one of the first times, I think it was the first time she saw him, or maybe right after she first spoke to him. I did like that part. I thought that was good, actually. And it's almost like she fell asleep for a second and saw him, and she woke up and was like, Miranda, where are we here? Yeah, so Carrie gets that memory, and then she rubs her back because her back hurts, and Miranda says, "Are you okay?" And she said that Big would rub it for her. So Miranda starts to do it, and she says, "That's enough." And then, Miranda like spoons her. It's very sad.
Very sweet.
Yes. In the morning, Carrie's online looking at funeral homes. Oh, it's just very depressing. Very depressing. Yeah. And she plays this reel where it's like, when you're reaching the end of your life, we'll make it better for you. Like, it's terrible. Cheesy.
Like all the things that all like the cheesy, tacky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like traditional funeral home video.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never watched a funeral home video.
Yeah.
But it was terrible. Miranda wakes up, and Carrie hadn't slept at all. And Miranda wants to stay with her. And she's like, "No, go to school," especially like after that first day that you had. And Charlotte's coming over so she can help her. Miranda asks where the coffee is, and she goes into this isn't that significant, but she goes into the freezer to get it. And she says, "Okay, I'll make some." And then Carrie says, make what? She's totally out of it, obviously. She says, "Coffee." She doesn't say, "I just said coffee." She says, "Coffee."
Do you keep your coffee in the freezer?
We used to.
Why do people do that again?
Maybe it keeps it fresh. I don't know, because Dave used to do that when I first started dating Dave. He did that. I think if you don't use like we use, we go through coffee every single day, but we grind our coffee, so we have a huge bag of coffee beans that we grind every basically day. But we did used to keep it. Sometimes, why would he keep it in the freezer? I don't know.
Why.
To be honest, I'll ask Dave.
Yeah, ask him.
Ask Dave. Okay. We see Anthony, and it looks like his closet, and he's getting dressed. And then we see Stanford in the reflection in the mirror. They embrace. They apologize to each other. They say, I think Anthony says, "We're so lucky. We're so lucky." And I think they say they're sorry. And then Stanford says, "Is that cologne I hate?" Anthony just looks at him. He's like, sorry, I hear myself. And then he wipes away like a scent in the air when Anthony walks out. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. All right. Now we're in the funeral home. Charlotte and Carrie are being shown the Hamptons room, and they're both wearing pink, which I thought was like, right. Carrie's jacket was like a pink, a light pink.
Yeah.
And Charlotte's dress was a pink
dress. creamish color dress under?
It wasn't.
Or at least
I thought it was
that
cream.
way?
It was stripes because once she sat down, I
okay.
should have written this more. I thought it was totally cream also.
Yeah.
When she sat and was like talking to Charlotte, I'm looking at her legs. It almost looked like she had on like palazzo pants or culottes or whatever you want to call them. But there was definitely like a pinstripe. It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlotte obviously was in the pink tweed and she had like the reinforced shoulder, like whatever they call that, a strong shoulder that bumps out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is like, they've looked very uncomfortable in this.
Yes. Yeah.
Place.
Yeah. So the man asks, well, how many participants are coming? And I think Charlotte answers, or I don't know, maybe Carrie does answer and says, not sure. And it's just kind of like in a daze. And Charlotte answers, this is all new. We weren't prepared for this. Yeah. She's very emotional. He leaves and this other woman. Oh no, he leaves and he says another woman is coming in. The mortician will be in shortly. So they sit and Carrie says he would hate it here. Charlotte says they can look at another room. And Carrie says the whole place, he would hate the whole place. And she says, the Hamptons room, the irony of that clearly, because they were going to go to the Hamptons. Then Charlotte breaks down, blaming herself. If she hadn't forced her to go to the recital, he'd be alive. She feels that Carrie thinks it's all her fault. Carrie's like, I don't think that. Charlotte says, but I do. So Charlotte's like hysterical. She annoyed the patooties out of me in this scene because it's not all about Charlotte.
It's not about her. But I also felt like, I was like, I don't really believe Carrie. She's just trying to make her friend feel better. I think she does.
Oh, gosh.
Slightly wish she didn't go.
You can't even help but feel that way. Like,
right. Obviously. Like, what if? How do you not say what if?
What if? Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. That's what bothered me about the whole first episode.
Yeah. Then Janie Hayes comes in and thinks that Charlotte is Carrie. Calls her Mrs. Preston because she's so distraught.
Yes.
So then Carrie wants to leave. And again, Charlotte's like not getting up. So then that was annoying, actually. And then Janie says she could get another mortician, like, just because of a silly mistake or whatever it was. Yeah. And Carrie says, it's not you, it's me. Which is like a dating line, a breakup line, which I think there was trying to be funny, but like some of these deliveries, I'm just like, they're not funny to me.
No, they're not.
The woman's like, S-H-I-T.
Didn't they use? I remember remember the episode on Sex and the City with the Post-it?
Yes.
Oh, no, the breaking up. Did they use that?
He might have said that.
Something like that.
No, he said, sorry, Carrie, I can't. Because I can't.
Okay. All right.
And then also one of the best episodes was he's just not that into you.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. And it was and there was a book called that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great. Okay.
A movie, I think.
Yes. I think so too.
Okay. Anyway. Sorry.
She's putting Charlotte in looks like an Uber. Mm-hmm. She says, go and lay down. I don't know. I think she says like, I don't want to, or so she's like, no, I want you to, or something. It's like,
get out of here.
Yeah,
I can't deal with you anymore.
Yeah. And says Miranda. Oh, and then Charlotte's like, I'll call Miranda. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do anything. So then Carrie's walking and she stops in front of a restaurant and I believe the significance of this, she sees a man dressed in a suit, kind of has the same hair as him. And he's eating outside with a woman. The woman kind of could look like Carrie, except her hair was straight, whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that happens. Now we're at Columbia, and they're at the security check where they come in. Miranda goes through, but then she drops a book because, like, she's old school. She has the books, which we hear about. But so that delays her. So she sees the professor coming in, and she can't find her ID. And so the security guard asks her to step to the side, and Miranda is getting very upset about this and saying, that's Professor Wallace and she would vouch for her. And she said, I'm in her class. This is why I'm here. And she said, why are you questioning her identity? And he's like, I'm not. I just need to see her ID. And then she says, well, you barely glanced at mine. Can I have your name? And he's like, no. And then she says, and then finally the professor gets through. If I was the professor, though, I would have stepped to the side. There wasn't that many people behind her. I would have been dying because she was just really fumbling. I just was like, oh my God, let me get out of the way and find this darn thing. But whatever. Miranda. She's like, I just had to say something, and you taught us. I think she said something like, if we see racism, say something. And she's like, you inflamed a situation that didn't need to be inflamed.
Like, did you really need to say something?
Yeah. And she's like, well, it's a bit white savior. So Miranda, yeah.
Way to go.
She goes, I had to show my ID. It was in my bag, there you go. Miranda apologizes. Then she says, I appreciate your apology, but it's not necessary, which is almost worse. When you're trying to apologize to someone because you really feel like an idiot, they're like, no, you don't need to. It's like, well, then you're not accepting the apology. Actually,
exactly.
She's like, I appreciate it. It's not necessary. We're just here learning, right? And she's like, what's happening with all these books? The books are online. A Kindle is much lighter. And she's like, I like to turn the pages. I'm old school.
I agree.
I'm like that too.
I still
like that too.
Read books.
Oh yeah. I can't.
I even, like, if I'm working on a report, I print it out to proofread it. I have to see it on paper. I cannot read on a screen very well.
It's so bad. Well, it's so bad for your eyes too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can't either.
Not a fan.
I mean, I'm reading my notes off the screen is kind of tough, but
that kind of thing is okay. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know.
And I get, like, the Kindles they're made to look like paper. I just can't.
They even make noise. I don't even make a noise when you turn the page. It goes.
I love holding the book too.
Me too. And the smell. I want that smell.
Putting the bookmark in so you can, see your progress.
Yeah.
So, totally. I'm old school too, but we already knew that. So.
All right. We see Charlotte in her apartment, and Lily is zippering her dress. Zippering? That sounds funny. Zipping up her dress.
I loved her dress.
The black dress.
It? I really liked it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I thought it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. Lily was wearing, like, a shirt that looked like, again, like a 5-year-old, a maid outfit, or like a younger child would wear. Like, she was dressed lace like, on really little. I was like, wait, why do you look like? Yeah, it was like a sweatshirt.
Like Jennifer Lopez and Made in Manhattan or something. I'm sorry. She had like the Made in Manhattan outfit. Or,
I don't know.
Remember that movie Made to Order? Do you remember from the 80s? No.
I mean, I remember. I don't know if I watched
the mom from Christmas Vacation is in it. Beverly.
Oh, yes. She's been in it.
Anyway, great 80s movie, but also reminded me of her outfit.
Her outfit. Yeah. What would you call that? Like, it was almost like a doily looking thing on her.
Yeah, I just wasn't feeling it.
No.
I mean, it's kid outfit, but it did kind of put her like a doll. She looked like a doll would wear.
Doll. Yeah.
Don't they reference the dolls? Oh no, that's in the preview. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Oh my gosh,
I didn't.
So she, I didn't take many notes for this. She talks to her daughters about that like, with death. I think Rose asks why you wear black. I don't even remember what she said, but it's fine.
Like, we're sad and everything.
We're sad, and she says, but death reminds us about life, and I just wrote blah blah blah. Sorry, at this part I was just like, shut up, Charlotte. I can't with her right now. So Harry walks in. Lisa Todd Wexley is there. She was invited for lunch.
Yes,
Charlotte totally forgot. So Lisa T. Wexley, Todd, whatever Wexley. I tried to look her dress up because I just thought it was very interesting. I think it was linen, right? Didn't it look like linen, like a bag?
It did
almost?
Look like some sort of like caftan-ish, not really, but
I mean, the material.
That linen like gown.
Yeah. And it looked like it was almost like like they had pins. It had pins on it, a lot of gold jewelry.
Yeah, and like
they looked like
earrings that were at the top.
Yeah, like bauble, and they were silver and gold, mostly gold jewelry. I did like freeze frame her too.
Very
I was trying to look at everything. Very bold. What I thought was funny though, because when they show Charlotte talking to her, she was standing and Lisa looked awkward. And I think it's because she didn't have a purse. Like she didn't have anything to hold, and her arms were just kind of hanging down. It was an odd stance. She's gorgeous, and she could pull off anything. But
if anybody could wear anything, it's her.
Yeah,
just beautiful in everything so far.
Yeah,
and I've seen like the previews, and it just continues, in my opinion.
Yeah,
her clothes are really cool.
Yeah. It was a long sleeve dress, which I was like, isn't it kind of summer? It's hot. Anyway, it is linen, but still.
Yeah. Oh, I can't do linen. Maybe a
No,
blend, but too wrinkly. I just can't.
Oh my gosh. I can't take the wrinkles. Okay. I didn't actually take any other notes. So basically she tells her, and then she says, oh, she's like, I'm trying to be strong for my girls. And she's like, oh, I was the same way with my, I guess, I don't know if she says with my boys, but she might have, or she said
her
with them.
Father passed.
When her father passed, she said, I could see the rings on my hand shaking. I was like, referencing the jewelry. I'm not sure.
Of course.
Yeah. Then she hugs her and you could tell like LTW was going to let go. And she's like, oh, okay. You know, Charlotte just is infatuated with her. Now we're in Miranda's apartment and Steve's talking about the bike. Why was he on the bike? She said, you know, he did 1,000 rides and the doctor said it was okay. And he was just very stuck on this bike and he shouldn't have been riding it. Steve said he had a heart condition. His accent is unbelievably strong. I don't even know if it's New York. I think it's Boston. I'm very confused on his accent.
Yeah.
Okay?
It doesn't sound Brooklyn-ish or
he had a
Long
heart
Island.
condition. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Queens. I think he's supposed to be from Queens.
Get my stogie.
He is from Boston. And it's even like he did that back then too.
Yeah.
There's going to be a baby. I remember when she was pregnant.
Yeah.
I would always quote that. Doesn't he say that? There's going to be a baby. Now he's just like, ha, ha. So anyway,
he's older. It's a whole thing.
Oh my God. Okay. So I don't know where I am here.
How could you not?
He had a heart condition. Going on about it. She says, why are you making this about the bike? And he just says he can't believe he's gone. She says, it sucks. Death sucks. And they hug. Brady, who honestly I would love to punch in the face a lot, shows up in the doorway and Steve calls him over to him. Yeah, he's like, I'm good. And he's like, I kind of hate him. And he goes, we're not. Hug your mom, eat, mom, me. It was really weird. Again, the way he said, he goes, hug your mom, me. I was like, how
old do you think Brady is?
I looked everything up.
Okay.
He's supposed to be, well, she mentions later, he's supposed to be 17. This actor is 27.
Oh, okay.
I was like, is this the original Brady? He is not.
No.
The original Brady was named, this is a very odd last name, Joseph Pupo.
Okay.
P-U-P-O. Pupo? Pupo. I don't know. One or the other. Or Pupo. But if it's one P, it should be a long U.
So how old would he be in real life?
7. I think he is around that age because I did look him up.
Okay. He'd be a teenager.
Yeah, I think he's a teenager, which I don't know why you can't just have him. And maybe he didn't want to do it.
Well, maybe because they were doing these graphic scenes.
Oh, true.
With him. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can't. And
he's probably a minor too. Yeah. So then this actor's name is Niall Cunningham. He really does look like the other kid, though. He almost looks more like that kid than that kid looks now. Like, because I saw,
good casting.
I was like, oh, he doesn't really look like the other kid. The curly, and also just he does look like he could be their child because he kind of looks like Steve with red hair. Okay. And not to say he's a good actor. I mean, he's a good actor. I just can't stand his character at this point in my life.
Because there's no other depth to it. It's just you're basically a 17-year-old like
douchebag,
like
sort of hormonal, disrespecting. Yeah,
just using. Yeah. I don't know. We're not seeing like the other parts. This is what they're showing.
Exactly.
Of him. It's just him and his girlfriend banging. So
yeah. Oh God. And and not whatever. Obviously that happens, but. Just don't care that the parents can hear them.
Right. So disrespectful.
Maybe they should start making noise. See what happens.
Take that.
Yeah. All right. We're at Carrie's apartment. She's on the phone. She's like checking and making sure that everything's okay. Clearly with the funeral home. She walks into their closet. At least she's on his side and she sits on that beautiful, I forgot the name of that type of seat. I mean, it looks,
not the chaise. It's
it almost is.
Yeah.
It almost is a chaise lounge, right? It's kind of.
The people call it chase and it's not a chase.
No.
It's a chaise.
Chaise. I was just noticing she had her little purse, like it's all pearls, and then her white shoes are on the ground, on the floor or the carpet or whatever next to it. And then there's a black bag in the background that says I Heart New York. So I, heart, and Y. That was, I'm sure, placed there on purpose. She pushes herself into the suit jackets, and just smells them. And it's just,
I'd do the same thing.
It's terrible. I would do the same thing too.
And you think of, like, not to be like Debbie Downer, but think about
it was a down episode. It was
you know, well, yeah. I don't know. I don't want to get emotional, so
okay.
Shut my mouth.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Now we are they walk into the funeral home. It's Stanford on one side and Anthony on the other, walking Carrie in.
I'm sorry, the funeral home, because I felt like we were at an art gallery.
Yes. Well, yeah. And she wants,
but
it's the chicest. There's literally no funeral home that exists like that in real life.
It was like a cocktail party. I mean, I was kind of digging that. I'm not going to lie. Like, I would love to.
It's nice to be happy about it, and as opposed to really depressing. But I have my ideas about what I want.
I'd be down with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be in a smelling, like, preservative room that, like, you know what I mean? Like, throw me a party, will you?
Yeah.
With hors d'oeuvres, cocktails.
Yeah. Oh,
pass around some Prosecco.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, you know, I would want one.
Yeah. I agree. Stanford comments that it's a chic place for a funeral, and Carrie says, "Trust me, it's the only chic place for a funeral. Thank God for these lesbians."
Did you look up this place? Is it legit?
I'll tell you about it.
Okay.
There's another scene. I'll tell you all about it. Okay. I want to talk about her dress, because her dress, her look, and everybody's talking about it. So let me just see. Okay.
It was almost like a big tutu.
Yes. I went on I found a good description of it. Hopefully I can read it, because I took a picture of my computer. This is great. It says, it's from popsugar.com. It's here that we take in her own version of a little black dress, hence the episode name. A teacup silhouette with an elegant V neckline and a full lace skirt built up by layers of tulle. She finishes the outfit with a strand of pearls and a black headpiece, altogether making for a very Carrie moment, which Stanford acknowledges to Anthony. I'm so proud of her. This happens when she walks away. I'm so proud of her with all she's going through, pulling it together and giving a look today, because people will be expecting it. She's kind of our Jackie Kennedy, he says. And then this says, it's true that Carrie references the early 60s with this fashion choice, and you wouldn't expect her in anything simpler or more somber. I just want to go into a little. It says, sure enough, the history behind the number is telling. That wonderful dress was from Danny's vintage collection. Costume designer Molly Rogers told Pop Sugar, referring to wardrobe partner Danny Santiago. It beat out every black dress that came through the door. Anyway, so I just wanted to talk about that, because I couldn't have written it like they could. So I was like, I did a really good description.
Yeah, I loved it.
She sees the flowers, and she's upset. There's flowers on the coffin. She said no flowers. She walks away. That's when Stanford says the thing about her. She's kind of our Jackie Kennedy. And Anthony says, maybe don't say that to her. And he's like, I did already. So Carrie asked to speak with Lila and Corman. I think it was Corman was the name. I listened to it twice, so forgive me if I'm saying it.
They were like the coordinators, directors.
I think the owners. I'm thinking. They come walking through the door. Can I ask about the flowers? They said they arrived shortly after we hung up with you. I wanted you to see them and make a formal decision, because they're just so gorgeous. So Carrie asks who they're from. They hand her the envelope. They're from Samantha.
Of course. I did like this, though.
Yes. And she says,
I did, because it was
I
a little
this too.
Softening of the drama that occurred in first episode.
Yes. And that would be, Samantha would do that.
Correct.
I'm thinking, because I'm an expert in all the characters. Sorry.
It's a Samantha move.
Yes. Okay. Here's what we'll get into this building. Next scene, they show the outside of the building, which I freeze framed it, whatever you want to say. It's called the Wolf Building, and then it said Raymond Naftali Center. So I Googled it. there is a place called the Raymond Naftali Ambulatory Center.
Okay.
And it's a rehabilitation center. And there's doctors there and everything. I don't think it looks the way they showed the inside. I'm sure that was something else. Right. That was probably a studio. Right. Like that was probably filmed at a set. Yeah. That's my guess. But the outside of it, so, the outside was modern. So cool. Oh, it looked so cool. Modern and old, right? Like the old building. That's how New York can be, but yeah.
Correct.
It's on West 26th Street. I don't know what avenue or others. I don't know the area that it's in because I didn't get to look that much. Couldn't waste a lot of time, to be honest, looking.
Yeah, right.
So just deep. FYI. Okay, now we're back inside. Charlotte, I think it's Charlotte, Carrie, and Miranda are walking in together at this point. And Charlotte says, everything looks beautiful. And then Carrie says they were trying to talk her into renting a coffin because he's getting cremated. And then she says, he would never do a rental. He didn't even rent cars.
Yeah.
And Miranda tries to make a joke about the pressure of collision insurance, and no one's laughing. Charlotte, she says everything looks beautiful, but you changed your mind about the flowers. And Carrie says, no, I didn't. They're from Samantha. So then she sees Gloria, who was Big's secretary, and she walks away. And she's like, and that's what she wants to be called, secretary. She doesn't even say secretary. She just says, yeah. Charlotte says to Miranda, it's good, right? Don't you think it's good about the flowers? And Miranda says, yes. And by the way, I want to say the whole time at the funeral and a lot throughout this episode, they're playing that background music from the movie whenever she would be with Big. And I know I'm like, it's killing me. It was a good, nice touch. Blah, blah, blah. Carrie goes up to Gloria. Gloria is my mother's name, by the way. So yes. Funny. Carrie goes up to Gloria, and Gloria asks, how does she feel about hugs? And she's like, if they're from you, good, or something like you. That, and they hug, and I don't know why I have this part, but Gloria says, I always ask because some people don't like to be pawed by strangers. And Carrie says, you're not a stranger. And she says that Big always said, Gloria knows more about me than I do about myself.
Is it just me or Gloria look the same from the show?
Yeah, she looked the same.
Like, didn't age really?
No.
She was like 20 years old.
Her name. She's a famous actress. She's been around.
Yeah.
Cannot remember.
Yeah. Keep talking. I'll find.
Okay. You'll look at it. Gloria says he kept her on for years, even when the others got rid of their old gals. And now when I worked at Morgan Stanley, when I first came on, I was a secretary, technically. I think they called us an executive assistant. I don't even remember. But that was very true. I worked among all older women. I mean, there was a couple younger. I was 22, 23. And these women were probably, I think they're older than what I am now. I think they were late 40s, early 50s. And they were old school. And they were awesome. But they would still get the dry cleaning for them. They would order the flowers for the wives, they'd get the gifts. They do a lot of personal things for them. And they would have been with these men and they were men. I hate to say they were all men. It was bankers. It was investment banking. It was real estate investment banking division. And they would treat, I couldn't, the ones I worked for I didn't really do personal things for them. I don't think they expected me to. But thankfully. And, but they would treat them very well, like Christmas time, and give them a lot of good money. They gave them good money. Good gifts. I did get a Tiffany bracelet from one of my bosses, which was a woman. Yeah.
Not a bad gift. Her name's Brenda Vaccaro.
That's it.
Yeah. She's 82.
Wow. She looks awesome.
Yeah, 82.
What was like a famous role of hers?
She's she's from Brooklyn, of course.
Okay.
I mean, she's known for her roles in Midnight Cowboy.
Oh,
that was a big one. Once Is Not Enough, Airport 77, Supergirl. Zorro.
Okay.
Just reading some
like
random
show
stuff
she was
off
on for some
IMDb
reason
and whatnot. Yeah. Midnight Cowboy, 1969.
Okay.
Anyway. But yeah, she does look familiar from other things, but I was just thinking about her role in Sex and the City and like how she looks the same.
Yeah, she does.
Amazing.
She looks good.
Like a lot of 80s stuff too, right? Wasn't she in a lot of 80s stuff?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Okay. Now we have Carrie sees Che. Che's there. Carrie says Che didn't have to come. Che says,
King of Queens. Course. That's where it was from.
Oh, okay. She was on that. All right.
Yes.
Carrie says Che didn't have to come, and Che says, of course I did. It's someone you loved. Very sweet. Che is wearing all black. I think that Che looks good.
I like Che's outfit in this.
I was trying to look at the tie. A lot of things blended in because it was all black. The tie was cool. It had this like half circle toward the bottom. I don't know. I should have looked at it more. And the pants they tapered, right? Like at the bottom, almost like joggers.
Almost like a tuxedo type ish.
The boots too.
Like I did not catch the shoes.
Okay. Because later you can see Che's whole outfit. Because you see them standing. But anyway, are you looking up the outfit? Okay.
Trying to.
I'll keep going then. So Che says, hey, if any trouble breaks out, they used to be a bouncer at a dyke bike club. And Carrie says, thanks for the laugh. And Che says, technically only a smile on a, I'm a stand-up. I notice these things. She's a stand-up. Sorry. They are a stand-up comedian. I'll keep going. We're on the front row. Gloria is sitting in Stanford's seat. Everybody has a name card on their seat. It's assigned seating.
Oh, yeah.
And Anthony says, well, you know what? You can take that seat. I'll sit in the back. Stanford says, no. Anthony looks at Stanford like, what are you doing? And then basically tells her he's sure there's other seats in the back. Oh, I have a dry cough.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay. So then
time to hydrate.
Yeah. Stanford says, what I need to be at my
he
best
wants
friend's
to be like in
side.
a little sandwich.
Yeah. He wants to be.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean,
I get it.
Kind of felt bad for Gloria, but if you think about it, he's next to his best friend who lost her husband, and he would like his husband next to him on the other side, which I would feel the same way.
I agree.
Yeah. Miranda, but Carrie maybe should have seated her in the front row too. Gloria knew more about him than he even knew about himself.
I feel like there was
side note. Yeah. All right. Miranda goes to the bar. Orders a glass of God blessed Chablis again.
Oh my gosh, with the Chablis.
Okay. I don't know what's going on. I feel like should we look up
and
the stereotype
of a bottle? I'm like, where are people getting Chablis?
She's like, oh. But the woman
I did do my wine order recently and on purpose went to see the Chablis. They do come in bottles.
They come in bottles.
Like saying about
what's
like
the
it's
stereotype of a Chablis drinker? Like, are they trying to do something here? Well, I'll there's something else I want to say later. So the woman says they are serving after the service. Then Miranda says, that's okay. I'm family. My husband sent over all the liquor from his bar. Now I put in here, I am noticing they may be trying to make her out to look like an alcoholic. Something going on, because why would they have this? They had her get a drink before she went into school at like 11:15 in the morning.
There's obviously going to be something developing with her.
I think so.
Midlife, whatever problem or something.
Yeah. So then the woman.
I mean, listen, I'm all about having.
Yeah, but she's
cocktail, but
she's
it's
showing
not appropriate.
Very, like, she's needy. Yeah, it's like
exactly. It's not a good. And then what does she say? Like, I'll have like
a bourbon.
Yeah. Who orders a bourbon? You go from Chablis to a man's drink?
She stops her and she goes, it looks like you might not have enough wine for everybody. So I will have, because everybody wants Chablis, by the way.
Yeah.
So I will have a neat bourbon real quick. And then she
real quick.
She gets annoyed that the woman doesn't move fast enough either. She's like, I'm speaking. Like, she was very snotty.
Yeah,
so again, is that the
so,
angry alcoholic? Like, because she needs her drink. So we'll see.
I did watch some previews and I didn't see anything, but I agree with you. I think that there's something going to be developing.
I saw something.
I mean,
I don't even know what I saw, but online, like maybe when I was trying to look up the outfits, and there was a picture of her wearing the outfit she wore to the first day of school and went into the bar, and they were like, her drinking habit is disturbing or something like that. I'm like, but I didn't read it or anything.
Listen, the first day of school coming back, I mean, I could understand that, but now we're at a funeral and
I know, and just
you're ordering a bourbon, like it's like an after dinner drink that you have,
isn't it?
With a bunch of guys and a cigar. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I just feel like this was done purposefully.
Yeah, on purpose.
Yeah, I would think.
If anything, Carrie should have a drink.
Yeah.
Take the edge off.
Yeah. So
she's
then
probably on something else.
Yeah. We see Miranda. Now they're all sitting and Miranda's looking at note cards. And Sanford notices that she's going to be speaking. And he says he would have liked to have spoken.
Right.
And Anthony says, it's a funeral, not the moth. Do you know what the moth is?
No.
Oh, okay. The Moth is it's live storytelling, and they would tour. I don't know what they've done since COVID, but they would tour like across America, and it would be these different people telling personal stories, and they play them on NPR. I haven't listened in a long time. There's also it has its own podcast. And that's where I had first heard of the woman who I believe wrote, or it was based off of her, Orange is the New Black. They do. Yeah. I believe it was the Moth that I heard her on. And,
okay.
I used to listen to it religiously. Like I would listen to it and I kind of forgot about it.
Matt's uncle worked for NPR for years up in Vermont, oddly enough.
Oh, cool.
And I remember he did a piece on our wedding.
Oh, really?
And then sent it to us. So one of the things, this is a really quick story, but his aunt and uncle, I've always been known, like they don't give gifts at a wedding until like they get the right gift, right? So they're very thoughtful.
Until they make sure you're going to be married.
No.
Stay married? I'm just kidding.
No.
Okay.
But they want to get the right gift, right? Okay. And like they put a lot of thought into it. Aww. So I walked down the aisle to a very specific song from Forrest Gump, Feather Theme, right? With my dad. So months later, I get a package in the mail from Alan Silvestri. Sorry, couldn't say. The composer. He signed a copy of the sheet music, and then they had it framed, and they sent it to us.
Wow.
It's actually right in front of me.
Oh my God.
So I'm thinking about it right now. It's,
wow.
Original sheet. It says, to Matt and Diana, my best wishes, Alan Silvestri. And it's like hand signed, like autographed or whatever from him.
That's
but like
really
they
cool.
went to the wedding and were like, that's the gift. We know him. Or they went to his like winery or something.
Can I invite him to things?
Apparently there's a connection.
It's Matt's uncle, you said?
So it's Matt's uncle.
Okay. So when I have my birthday party this year,
yes,
I probably won't have a party, but I'll invite him over. How about I just invite him over for my birthday? Yeah, just be like,
there you go.
Just really, I won't even invite you over. I'll just invite him.
Yeah. And let him get to know you and Dave. And then they'll come up with like this awesome
gift.
Random gift.
Or maybe just.
Yeah, it was like 6 months after we were married that it showed up in the mail.
That's really
cool. And it was odd because you know how you go through and we're like, you didn't get a card from your uncle?
No card. Yeah.
And they had sent a note like, hey, sorry, like, you know how we are, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And then here comes this package. That was very thoughtful.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah. I love it.
So I don't know. I got off on a tangent.
No, that's okay. It's all these synchronicities.
NPR. You said NPR.
Yeah. It's so cool. Okay. So where am I here? Okay. So Carrie walks in and nods at Miranda to go up. I'm not going to go into everything she says in the speech, but she starts with how lucky we are to have known this man, and then also ends it with that, how lucky. Then Charlotte says that was beautiful, and Miranda says Carrie wrote it. And I was like, well, she is a writer. Like Miranda's a lawyer. I'm sure Miranda could write something too, but I was like, okay.
It was like pretty short and sweet too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. All right, now we have John's big brother who never says his name. I don't know what his name is. But no.
But he's there.
Yeah. And he says, and you could see them being brothers in a way, and except he's shorter than him, I think. But anyway, he says when he spoke with John, I want to go back to Miranda saying he was larger than life, something like that, right? And then she says he left a big hole. And I was like, is that the reference to the big name? Anyway. So then brother says when he had spoken with John the week before, just last week, that John had said he had never been happier in his whole life. And that's no better way to go out. And then he thanks Carrie for giving him that. I was like, oh my God. So they play now the montage, the video of him when he's little. I was wondering too if the video footage did look like him.
It did. I believe it had to be.
If not, that's like crazy.
I mean, that's
casting.
Impossible almost. But yeah, it looked like home videos.
Yeah.
And the music. That song,
I know. Played Hello, It's Me. And they're showing, so Carrie, oh no, that's later on. So Gloria, this part annoyed me. Gloria starts just
losing it,
sobbing
like
loudly.
Her and Charlotte should just
and
go climb up together.
I think this part was ridiculous, unnecessary. It's not funny, and it wasn't sentimental. Like I just felt like what was the only purpose was that Che went over and gave Gloria a handkerchief, I think it was a handkerchief, which was sweet, but I don't know. Then we see Susan Sharon. Am I the only one who remembers what a prick he was to her?
Yeah.
And again, whatever. Yeah. Anyway,
it's like the college reunion here, like high school reunion.
Yeah.
And
you don't watch any Real Housewives,
I don't.
Right? So the Real Housewives of New York had this woman on named Dorinda Medley, and supposedly, I believe it was Susan Sharon was based off of her.
Oh,
and Dorinda is definitely very kind of like brass like that, but not as bad and weird as Susan Sharon, because Susan Sharon's kind of weird, but cursing like the mouth and everything. So, which is really hysterical. Because I think this person. Because Susan Sharon, I never read the book Sex and the City by oh my God, what's her name? What's the author's name?
Yeah, no,
look it up.
It's skipping my mind, but yes, I didn't either.
Susan Sharon might have been in there because I thought that she was based off of Dorinda, and Dorinda and her husband would fight like that, screaming at each other. Remember, like the episode that Susan Sharon was in was like "F you, no F you," and then they got the dog and they go "Shut the F up" to the dog. Anyway. You look that up.
Candace Bushnell.
Oh my God, thank you.
Took me a minute.
Yeah, but I'd have to look all into that. Anyway, they show Carrie, and she's really bobbing to the music and looking down. And that's when the lyrics are saying, a lot of the stuff I think he sang to her, the part where he sang to her in the first episode, that's when I thought she was going to start crying, but she doesn't. Then we're at the reception, and Carrie asks Charlotte to walk Gloria out. And they just say, Carrie just says, I'll give you a call. And Gloria says, when you're up to it, we have a slew of papers to work out.
Oh, God.
Fun. All right. Now we have Bitsy Van Muffling again. I just think some of these parts were just
unnecessary.
No. Yeah, totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
So she comes up saying, I know, believe me, I know. I lost my Bobby a year and a half ago. And she said back then she couldn't do anything because of COVID. So she's like, it's wonderful to make something beautiful out of this.
Apparently they're filming this thinking that COVID's not a thing anymore.
Well, I think that just for the show they're doing that. I really do.
I love how they shouldn't have referenced the pandemic.
I feel like they shouldn't have referenced it at all.
No. And just shot it as if it, what I mean? Because now it makes it awkward because we're still, I mean, we're back to full blown.
I don't think at all when they were filming it that they were thinking it was going to be over by the time they showed it. I just don't think they wanted to have it as part of the show, but they are having it as part of the show, kind of.
I know, and I don't like that they're having it as part of the show.
No. At all. So then,
anyway, little things.
The guy, of course I forgot his name. I should have written it down, but she introduces him. He was Bobby's pianist. And he says, no, musical coordinator. And she's like that's right. Like she snaps at him. He doesn't. And he's like, I'm sorry for your loss. She's like, he doesn't know. Again, this show doesn't need to be 45 minutes.
No, and
cut it needs out to some be of these parts. We need a half hour now.
Sex and the City was.
Sex and the City, I used to die that it was a half hour. Now I want it to be a half hour.
I understand why it was half an hour as an adult.
It should be half hour. Okay.
I feel like we need to consult with the team.
Yes.
They need us on their team.
They do.
HBO needs us.
Yeah, because
dragging this out. Some of this stuff can just go snip, snip, snip.
Yep. So now we're at
Speaking of dragging this out, our podcast.
Yes,
Sorry.
I know. Yes. We got to speed it up, actually. I don't, because
let's speed it up.
All right. So Susan Sharon comes over and she's like acting like there's something happened between them. She's like, life's too short to have a grudge. I did love her belt bag. She's saying
a good belt bag.
Yeah. She's saying like, it's water under the bridge. You don't owe me. This is a mea culpa. You get a free pass. Then she also like pulls on her belt bag to I don't know. That part I thought was kind of funny. And then Carrie has no idea what she's talking about. I was hoping Miranda remembered. Then Steve comes over and says, "Oh, Carrie walks away. Do you need anything?" Blah blah blah. He's like, "She's being totally amazing, running around producing this whole thing. If it were you in that box, I'd be a total mess." I don't know. She's not even crying. And Miranda says, "Yeah, but it's not a good. Is that a good thing, or it's not a good thing?" Something like that. All right. Then we have Brady and Che. Brady's like, "It's cool about stand up," and then Brady takes a hit off of Che's pipe. Oh God, this whole part I was so uncomfortable. Ugh. Miranda walks up and catches Brady taking a hit. So Brady drops the pipe and breaks it. Miranda says, freaks out, says he's a minor, and then basically Miranda gets in Che's face. So who the F are you? Are you something like, why are you even here? Where are you? Yeah. Something like, where are you from? Why are you even here? Are you some kind of funeral pop pusher? Stupid. And Che says, "No, I'm not, but that's a great idea." I mean, Che just has the line.
Got the wit.
Yeah.
Che's got it.
Che's got it. Che says, "No, but that's a great idea for an untapped market." Miranda's like, "Do you think this is funny?"
I do.
And I do too. Che says, "No, not yet, but give me an hour." I don't know. Says something else.
Yeah.
Witty. Miranda goes into Che's face. "I don't know who you are, or where you come from, but if you don't back the F off, I'm going to rip your goddamn head off." And that was terrible, actually. I'll be honest. Like, yeah, I might get angry. I can have a temper, but I don't think I would have done that.
No, not at a funeral.
No. So embarrassing. So,
well, we don't know how much bourbon.
How many bourbons has she had? She did have a bourbon. No, she had bourbon the rest of the night or
double
bourbon. Yeah. So Che says, "Just chill, slow your roll." Walks away. Mom. Brady says, "Mom, I was just sad. I needed a hit." And then she says, "Oh, you're sad. Maybe I should kill myself so you can try crack." I'm like, "What the heck?" And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "No, Louisa, you're going home with your father. No, Louisa, for a week. And you're crazy," or calls her crazy, and she walks back and she's like, "What did you say?" He's like, "I said, where's Dad?" So okay, now of course Carrie immediately Miranda walks to the other room and Carrie introduces her to Che. She introduces her as her ride or die. Yes. Carrie walks away. Miranda starts to apologize, and Che says, "It's on them. I've been smoking weed since I was 13. So I don't know, wasn't even thinking about his age or whatever." Miranda says, "Why didn't you tell me who you were?" And Che says, "The proper thing to do was just walk away," when I was being accused of doing improper things with the boy. But Che said that it was very cool how Miranda protected Brady and says, "Thank you. I'm kind of like a mama bear when it comes to my kid." And Che says, "Mama bear? Honey, try Papa bear." Then they start again. They introduce themselves. And then Miranda asks Che, "Is it Che Guevara from Che Guevara?" And Che says, "No, it's from Cheryl. The first three letters. You don't seem like a..." Oh, and then Che says, "Do I seem like a Cheryl?" And Miranda says, "No." And Che says, "You don't seem like a Miranda. You seem like a Rambo." Duh. Okay. So now they're on the elevator and it's the three of them. Charlotte, Samantha, Charlotte, Carrie.
Samantha's there.
Yeah.
In spirit.
Yeah. Carrie and Miranda. And Carrie says, "I'm glad that's all behind me." And as soon as they walk to the apartment, there's balloons. There's like candy trees. There are a little bit of flowers. Then there was a balloon that when she hit into it played "Celebrate."
Yeah.
And again, are they trying to be funny? Because it's not funny.
Yeah.
I
didn't think it was going to be that kind of episode or show.
No. So then it's the morning, and
that's a terrible song, by the way.
Yeah. Carrie texts Samantha, "Thank you." That's who she texts in the morning. Then we're down at the subway. We're down by the subway. Miranda and the professor are both there. And then, these three guys. I hated this part too.
Of course.
3 guys. One guy filming, the other one laughing, and another guy dressed up like Chucky, the crazy doll.
Yeah.
Right?
So
yeah, they look like, they're going around scaring people. And they run over to the Chucky doll person, runs over to the professor and goes in her face, and then tries to take her bag. And so Miranda comes over and hits the guy in the head with her book. So there you go.
The book.
So then he falls down and they get out of there. And then where am I?
The
Miranda
professor
says, "Oh my gosh, what was that? I'm sorry." And she says, "I hope that wasn't another white savior moment." And the professor says, "That was any kind of savior moment."
Yeah.
And then Miranda says, "See, a Kindle wouldn't have had that impact." Now we're at Carrie's. We're at Carrie's apartment. The doorman delivers a box, which is like upside down, and then she kind of like catches it and turns it over, and it's his ashes. So we have Stanford there. He has this martini. It made me really want a martini.
Yeah, definitely.
He's wearing like all green tones. And then why didn't they call first? Miranda's there too. Who knows? I was out of it that day. Maybe I said, "Please surprise me at home with my dead husband's ashes." The buzzer rings, from downstairs, and it's Charlotte. So Carrie tells Stanford to go hide because she doesn't want her thinking that she didn't call her. I just have to say, I did love her outfit. It was like a tank top jumper, a little bit 70s-ish. It was gray, I think, grayish, and had it did have like one black line, and then it had the athletic black stripe down the sides and like jogger bottoms. Super and a really cute. Cool cardigan. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Oh, she says, "I didn't call her." Why would...
I don't blame her.
I wouldn't have called her.
You don't want to be that friend that's not invited, but you can see why she doesn't want her there in this.
Yeah.
Because it's...
I didn't call her.
She's got to console her too. And she's not the one
she doesn't need
so
to be taking care of other people.
Because she feels guilty. Like, that's what therapy's for.
Yeah. I didn't call her because she tends to run a little emotional, and the situation is emotional enough. Why can't... Oh, and then she wants Stanford to hide. Oh, yeah. I think I said it right. Why can't Miranda hide? And she says, she says, "Because it's Miranda's night to be here. You are the outlier." Stanford has a feeling he will not be a good hider. She says, "It won't be that long." Charlotte comes to the door, has a bag, and went to the Good magazine place and got her Italian and British Vogues. And then Stanford walks in the background.
Get his drink, right?
Yeah. And she's like, "Is that Stanford?" Carrie tries to act like, "What? Who? What? Stanford?" Whatever. So then I think she tells him to come out, and then just came. Oh, I don't know what I wrote here, but basically, I think she said she called him because of the ashes, and why didn't you call her? Why didn't she call her? And she said because she knew she'd be upset or something like that, right? I don't remember. And then Charlotte gives her the magazines and says, "Okay, have a good night." Carrie runs after her and says,
She snaps at her.
Yeah, she says, "Big's ashes came. I called Stanford. Please don't make this about you." Charlotte says, "I'm trying not to, but it's pretty obvious that you're mad at me because I made you go to the recital." Says there's no other reason why she would have called Stanford over her. Stanford starts to interrupt and be like, and Miranda's like, "It's not the time." And I thought that part was funny. She says, "The truth is," Carrie says this, "because you are very emotional." And Charlotte says, "It's because I cried at the funeral home." And she says, "No, it's because you're crying now." Charlotte says she's sorry. "You seem so mad." Carrie says, "I am mad. Mad at myself, not you. I should have gone to the Hamptons with Big on Wednesday night. So there's their Wednesday again. So
here it is.
I knew they were saying Wednesday, and I guess that the recital was on Thursday. That's all I have to say. Like I wanted to. Like finally she yells. She's angry.
She needs
some emotion. The neighbor across the hall.
Hear that out loud.
Me too.
Because we all felt that she was feeling that.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't feel that way?
No.
Of course you're going to blame yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So then the neighbor across the hall peeks out and asks if everything's all right out there. And has on a pure white hooded sweatshirt. His name is Phil. So then she invites Charlotte in and shuts the door and is like, great, now that neighbor, great, and now I'm that neighbor. So Charlotte says, you can't blame yourself, Carrie. You didn't know Big was going to have a heart attack that night. And then I think Carrie says, neither did you. So Stanford says, so what's with the white designer hoodie on the old coot neighbor? And she says, and that's why I called Stanford instead of you. All right. So it's nighttime. It's raining very hard. And they're in bed. And she says, Miranda asks Carrie if she's okay. And Carrie says, can you give me another pill? Miranda looks at the time and says, no, not for another 5 hours. Sorry. Now we see it's 4:10 a.m. Carrie gets up. She goes to the living room with a pillow and a blanket and lays down on the couch. The box is on the table next to her. And we hear Carrie say, and just like that, I learned how long 5 hours can be. And then the rhythmic song, here comes the rain again. So that starts up. I just want to tell you, I have 57 minutes left on my account. Although if we go over, I assume it's fine. They'll charge me. I just hope we can go over. So I'm just warning everybody. And we're up to 56 minutes. No, I had 57 minutes left of recording time on my account, and we're up to 36:37. So,
okay. So we should cut it off there.
Yeah. All right. So,
well, that's it. That's a wrap.
Email us.
No final thoughts allowed.
@gmail.com.
I have nothing to say, even though I do.
All right.
Save it for next time. Bye.
Okay. Bye.